This is Dead Cells, the Metroidvania of 2019. Dead Cells was in early access, but it was the safest bet you could make. There was tons of transparency between the developers and their early adopters. It was really assuring to see how well they handled early access. It was fully released on the 6th of August in 2018, and it was pretty much feature complete with several bigger updates coming after the release. Playing this game makes you feel badass. Once you start to compile and gather a lot of high damage items, you start to destroy and rip through the enemies alongside the very amazing soundtrack. It makes you feel amazing. It's such a rush, and it's a pretty powerful roguelite experience. The bosses are the only issue I have with this game. They're fucking hard as shit. In previous builds, you could do an infinite amount of compound damage to them based on the items you were holding at the time. But now, in the current build, you have a capped amount of damage you can do to the bosses, and they have a high health pool, a massive health pool, and they do so much damage to you. It gets pretty painful. But nothing beats the feeling of taking on one of those bosses.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And succeeding and beating them, that feeling of winning is just super good. They do a lot of references and throwbacks in this game. A lot of them are funny and cute. They do a lot of references to things like Castlevania. They even go as far as letting you customize what kind of food that you can pick up. I pick vegetarian because I am a vegetarian IRL, and I thought it would just be funny, but you can pick things like Castlevania-esque, which is roast beef and stuff. It's pretty cool. There's quite a bit of dark humor. It references and breaks the fourth wall almost all the time and kind of reminds me of Earthworm Jim. I may have just stumbled on a fan theory. The Dead Cells main protagonist is Dead Earthworm Jim. But all joking aside, there is a lot to love about this game. I am a huge fan of a lot of soundtracks, but this one is up there in the list of decently composed soundtracks. Now, is it on the level of things like Stardew Valley or Secret of Grandia? No, but for the game that it encompasses, it's very well made. So each run through of the game is relatively different. All the levels are created and generated separately each time you run through the game. They reward you for running through the levels very fast. There are time-blocked doors that you can get through, and they reward you with stuff on the inside if you can get through them fast enough. And they are always the first drop down on the level. I wouldn't recommend speedrunning this game because of how high the RNG is with weapons and the way the layouts of the maps are, but it could be pretty fun. Each time you kill an enemy, they drop what is called a cell, and you can use those cells at the end of every segment to buy and upgrade specific items like health flasks and guarantee yourself some pretty decent weapons. There are little scrolls you can find around the map that help you and give you perks such as damage, utility, or health. The most overpowered item in the game is Freeze Blast, in my opinion. It allows you to freeze your enemies solid, do extra damage, and if there's more perks towards it, do other things to enemies around it. It's literally the most broken item in the game. I think I've only ever been cheesed in this game once. I was fighting the concierge, and he had his damage shield buff up and jumping into me while I was against a wall, and he pinned me there and just did an infinite amount of damage between him and the wall towards me, and I died. Now I don't let him do that anymore. Now I'm gonna end this video with a bit of a rant, and it'll be short. If you are constantly buying AAA games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and you're constantly disappointed by what the quality of the game is based on how pricey it is, how much cancerous content is produced and put into these games to make you want to pay more and more money for something that isn't worth it, put that shit down. Pick up any of the games I've ever reviewed, and I can almost guarantee you that you will enjoy it and it'll be worth the money. Now, when I got the game, it was $16, but that was the early access perk, is you got the game for cheap. But it is still very much worth it, and I think that you should pick up some of the games that I've reviewed if you feel like you're burned out of the games that you currently play, because my biggest worry is that we're heading towards the next big video game crash. There are everyday games being pushed out the door that are completely unfinished, broken, buggy, cash grab fucking gimmicks, and they're costing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for nothing. It's not enjoyable, and it's fucking expensive. I just want to reassure people that there are good games out there that aren't expensive, and they're full of ambition, and they're full of content, and the people that develop them aren't in it for all the fucking money. They want people to experience the vision that they've created, and things like Stardew Valley and Secret of Grandia are examples of that vision that you need to experience if you're getting burned out from these games. With all of that said, if you guys like my content, feel free to give it a like, even subscribe. I mean, I would love that. If you don't like the video, dislike the video. I don't care. Your opinion is your own. I hope you guys enjoyed this Dead Cells review. I'll talk to you later.